So yeah, the Kia Carnival. Shitty name.
I don't think it's a shitty name.
I don't know. I think it's a little weird.
Why do you think it's weird?
Just never imagined a minivan called a fucking Carnival. That sounds
well,
like the
they're bringing the party. You know, you're going to soccer practice.
Oh, jeez.
I mean, it's a lot of people could fit in that.
Yeah.
There's a lot of. I'm sure there's a lot of cup holders for drinks.
Yeah.
This is looking like a party.
I don't know if I want my minivan to be a party. If I want to throw kids in a minivan, because that's their primary
like a
purpose.
Kids party.
No.
Like
If I want to throw kids in a
Pina-
minivan, I want them to be in their
and,
fucking seat. I don't want them to be moving around. I want them to be stationary. We're fucking going somewhere, kids. I don't want you doing anything.
You are gonna be a boring dad if you become a dad.
Yes, if. There's a big if there. Oh, jeez. Yeah. Many layers to that if.
There's an asterisk there. Anyways, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, wherever this podcast may find you. It is I, as always, Gavin.
And I, Justin. Apparently the carnival hater.
Apparently you don't like fun.
No, not at all.
So our timing of recording this podcast is rather interesting because normally, it's still Sunday when we do record these podcasts, but normally we record them at like 9:30 in the morning.
Yep.
When I drive up here to Syracuse to do it.
Mm-hmm.
We have spent the day wrangling and filming and driving more Acura NSXs. And so now it's like 8 o'clock in the evening, and we're kind of like, a little rowdy, I think, from the day still. We're more than woken up.
Yes.
We might be a little bit feisty.
Yeah. No, we basically had to redo a section of the video that we're making due to just some small technical difficulties.
Yeah, well, let's tee it up. If you saw like our Audi 4.2 film or our the mini film, like with the Mini Coopers, we had a different kind of version of this also in the R32 film, except we weren't sitting down in a room. We were standing outside with cars, which could be a cool format still if we try that in the future again.
Yeah.
That was rather interesting if we had like a 2-car shootout.
Mm-hmm.
But the thing that happened, we filmed, for those that are from Utah or live in Utah or know what we're talking about, we filmed our first round table discussion with the NSXs, all 3 generations together at Lux Automotive in South Salt Lake. And it was a really great environment. We were surrounded not just by the cars that we brought, but like, an R34 GTR, an Huracan Performante, and like all these other really cool cars in the room. And it just created a really cool setting.
Mm-hmm.
And it seemed really fitting to have those cars there. And so we filmed it with 3 cameras, like 1 main wide camera, and then 2 more like close-ups, like a close-up on me and a close-up on Justin. Well, the main wide camera, you could call it the A cam for that shoot, was you all remember Chen.
Joined us a while back.
He joined us a little while ago, and we used his camera. It's one that we've never used in a video shoot before. And it wasn't until like a few weeks later that like we got that footage back and looked at it and realized that it was basically effectively unusable from the color aspect and also the pixel aspect. There was like some weird, not quite distortion, but some weird pixelation and aliasing that it effectively felt like a camera that was from like 2008 maybe, and that's like the main wide shot. We use those shots as like a safety. We use that shot as like a way to give a sense of place for like where we're talking about the cars.
Yep.
It's a real staple behind what we do in these films. And if we're already going through the trouble of wrangling not just 3 but 4 Acura NSXs, driving hundreds of miles away from people to drive all the cars and shoot them properly out there, what sense does it make to then ultimately settle for like really bum footage?
Yeah.
Back at what we would call our home base for that whichever video. So we tried to correct it as much as we could, and it just ended up looking like garbage still. We love you, Chen. We love to have you around, and you're a great asset to us. But we will not be using your camera in the future.
Yeah, you're not the problem. Your camera's the problem.
Right, and we have cameras to hand Chen if we need another shooter for a film. So
exactly.
What we ended up doing to fix this problem, we attempted to reshoot again at Lux Automotive, but due to logistical constraints, schedule constraints, and construction that was happening in that area. Was it in the building that was happening?
Sounds like it.
Okay. It wasn't really clear if it was inside the building or like a nearby building or something attached to Lux. I don't know. But it was looking like it was a no, and then it was like a yes, maybe, and we were like waiting to hear back from like who could let us in and like all this other stuff. And it kind of came down to the wire, and I was just like, you know what? I'm just going to hit up Derek at Makes and Models. For those that remember, that's where we shot the round table for our Mini Cooper reviews with the ERA Turbo and the original 998cc Mini. And we had a little bit different of a setup. We changed some things around. We, added a third car, and all three cars were larger because, they're Mini Coopers beforehand. So, yeah. We were able to reshoot and grab all the cars again. It was a difficult, set of text messages to send off to the owners of those cars. We go like, hey, we're so sorry. This is the last thing. Aside from hurting your cars, this is the last thing we really wanted to have happen.
Yeah.
And hopefully you're down to be a part of this still. And they were. And again, we got mega spoiled, and we were able to have you and I and Chen pick up and wrangle cars. None of the owners were there. And we actually, for a time, had Makes and Models to ourselves today, which was a really, truly surreal experience after we got all of the dealership cars moved out and our show cars moved in.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. We get all these NSXs set up and whatnot, but we get this refilmed and redone, which fortunately took about half the time it did last time, just simply because we'd already done it once. There
wasn't any like script workshopping or anything. The conversation like flowed really well.
Yeah, it just worked, because we had already done the trial run, literally.
Yeah, basically.
That wasn't supposed to be a trial run.
And I would have loved to have shot at Lux. I think that still would have been really, really cool. And hopefully, if they're listening, and B, going forward, I would love to shoot something else there. I really would.
Yeah, it's a cool location.
It's a great location, and the people there are still really awesome. And like Lux is the place where like if you need tint or a wrap or paint correction on literally anything, it could be something from as basic as a Fiesta and as high up. I've seen 918s in there. I've seen Veyrons in there.
Yep.
They have a gated Murcielago in there. I've seen BMW Z8s in there. One of their sales guys actually ended up tracking down. This is a little while ago, and this story was covered on VinWiki actually. One of the OG legitimate AMG hammers.
Nice.
Yeah, I don't know if you remember seeing that.
I don't.
The guy, I think he worked with John. I forget how you say his last name. Tamarian at Curated down in Miami.
Yeah.
I don't know. Do you know him, or have you heard of him?
I've heard of Curated.
Yeah, Curated. You know, the people that get like all the crazy Countachs. Well, that turbo Countach actually.
Yeah.
They were the ones that found that, and all sorts of crazy rare Mercedes and et cetera, et cetera. I'd love to, do more work with Lux. It just needs to be, things need to be concrete far in advance and be able to like lock things in.
Yeah.
Which wasn't necessarily a luxury this time around.
No, we had to, as Gavin said, we had to go back to the owners and basically ask for something that we don't typically ask for and never hope to ask for, which is a reshoot. And B, we then had to, try to get the location back, and that's what became a little bit of a struggle, but it happens. Like, these are businesses that we deal with, and so they, sadly, sometimes things don't quite work out.
We try to work around that, too, by, like, going in on a Sunday. One of the great, I guess, one of the few perks about having or living in a state like Utah with how many businesses close is that if we need to do something at a business without other people there,
guess what? Sunday is the holy day.
It is the Lord's Day,
apparently.
apparently.
So, therefore, we're usually able to work around that. But when businesses also have those days available, they go, oh, construction's perfect for that day because then it doesn't interfere with any regular work.
Right, and that makes sense. And we'll have to wait and see how long that construction takes, and so we can bypass that entirely and just, with coordination, just waltz right in, do our thing, and waltz right out.
Yep. So we got done with that day, which fortunately most of that day was spent inside because, yet again, it was another scorcher on this day of Utah.
The cars were indicating 100 degrees.
Yep.
So that's fun.
Thank God all 3 ACs in the cars worked.
That's very true.
Especially
also,
Chen in the black fishbowl, but continue.
Well, that's true. It was also really cool. I mean, I adored driving the yellow, NA2.
Yep.
But the fun thing about driving the blue car when we drove the blue car before, it was completely factory stock, just had been PPF'd with ceramic coat.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. And then I don't know when. It must have been I think maybe within the last couple of weeks.
Yeah.
The owner bought and installed. I didn't ask him how much it was.
Yeah, either way.
But a full titanium exhaust for this thing. And it had the Sport Cats, I think, that had a 98% flow.
Nice.
So really high flow cats. Full titanium exhaust. He told me that with it opening up the car a little bit, there's a 30 plus, probably closer to 40 horsepower increase. And I didn't know that until actually after I drove the car back from Makes and Models today. I drove the yellow NA2 NSX from the southern Utah County area, and you drove the hybrid from the similar area back up to Salt Lake.
Yep.
But we switched for the drive back down because I wanted to drive the car, the blue car with the titanium exhaust. And holy shit, is that thing dramatic now. It was like a lobotomy beforehand, and now it's just strung out on crack.
Yeah, I kind of equate it, especially hearing it from behind. I kind of equate it a little bit more to a Jaguar F-Type V6, where it has that character and burbly crackliness to it.
Right.
And that didn't exist at all before.
Oh no.
It was completely straight-laced before.
Right.
And it sounded decent before. We'll call it a 6 out of 10 before. But it wasn't supercar territory.
I'd call it a 4 out of 10
we'll settle in a 5, right in the middle, because it was...
Yeah.
It was decent enough. It didn't sound horrendous, but it also didn't have hardly any character to it. It didn't give you that supercar feel at all.
The sound didn't, and the sound, it's becoming more apparent to me how much of a role sound plays in sense of speed. Because, okay, if there's a 40 horsepower jump in a car that makes 200 horsepower, you feel it.
Yep.
Especially in a car that weighs very little, sub 3,000 pounds.
Mm-hmm.
But if you have a car that weighs 3,800 pounds and
NSX.
already makes 600 horsepower, percentage-wise, it's not a lot. And this car felt it was just an on and off switch. It was night and day from before until now.
And a lot of that's probably less in the power differential and more in the responsiveness with how free-flowing that stuff is now.
That on top of noise, on top of the minimal power. But what the point I'm trying to get across is noise really plays a role in sensation of speed, which I'm now here for with that car. So Kyle, well done, sir. Well played. You spend your money right.
Good choice.
Yes.
Seriously, that really did. Especially when we first started it up, he literally, when we picked it up, we picked up the car, we get in his garage, and he's like, oh, by the way, it has a new exhaust now. And they're like, oh, and he said the name, and I don't remember the name of the brand. It's some bespoke brand that seems to have made it kind of a one-off for a few people. But I pushed the button, just, I'm like, whoa. Before it would, it would just start up.
I had no idea it was going to be that loud. I knew that he got an exhaust, but I had no idea.
And it was going to be like that.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, where the car actually speaks.
God. No.
Prior to that, it was a church mouse.
It was a church mouse before, and now it's a death metal, or honestly, Chester from Linkin Park, just
yeah. Every time we had to start it to maneuver these cars into the building and make some models, it's just.
Well, and the hilarious part is, it's still the hybrid, and so it'll go back and forth between electric mode and gas mode, and whenever it just switches back to gas mode,
it's great. Yeah, I mean, we'd start it up to maneuver it. It always starts up into gas mode for a few seconds,
right,
and then it would just go.
there was I cracked the joke at you a couple of times, like, oh yeah, I remember my first time driving stick.
I know, right?
It sounds like it just stalled.
Exactly.
Because technically speaking, it did.
Yes, purposefully.
Right.
It stalled itself.
Yes.
Oh, man. Anyways, so that definitely, I wish the car would have come like that from factory.
Oh,
Or at least the Type S. Maybe not the original, that's a little different, but
Sure.
at least the Type S, being it's supposed to be such a special model.
Or even some sort of middle ground in between what it actually is and Kyle's car.
Or offered it with that exhaust that's on Kyle's car as a sport exhaust.
Sure.
You know?
Yeah.
Like, all of those were valid options that I kind of wish were a little considered, because
Yeah.
I think it did make the car a lot more special.
Yeah.
Very much so.
And there are some other German contemporaries are like the same shit.
Yep.
I mentioned in our video, actually, the BMW M2. Like, not that dramatic with, not that dramatic with a factory exhaust.
No.
Like, I want some, like a couple of crackles. It doesn't have to be some sort of,
Ironically,
crackle pop tune like on a Focus RS.
and I was even going to bring up the F-Type again and say, like, think F-Type V8, how it's just super overforced. Doesn't have to be that.
Yeah, that is a bit much.
It just has to exist.
A little bit of that and a little bit more volume and tone. You know, a lot of newer cars are just like that, and that's part of the problem with the accountants running things, is that car manufacturers are trying, especially with the main, higher selling, higher volume car companies, all their cars need to be all things to all people, and that's something that I fundamentally disagree with.
It's difficult, and I think there's extraordinarily few cars that have truly actually nearly achieved that.
Right.
I think those are limited to, like, in fact, we even mentioned in the podcast, or not the podcast, sorry, this is the podcast, earlier when we were doing a test run in makes and models, like, we talked about what cars in the showroom we would have, and I mentioned the E63S AMG Mercedes that was sitting right there. Cars like that are probably the ones that come closest to achieving all things for all people, because fundamentally they are...
until it becomes a $140,000...
paperweight.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, not a paperweight, $140,000... vehicle.
Yeah, it's really at that level where there's enough revenue in there for the engineers to come close to achieving all things for all people.
Right.
Get south of that, and I think
and they handle okay, but they're not like that nimble. Like
exactly.
there are still concessions that have to be taken into effect.
Yeah, you simply it's just general engineering and physics, we'll call it. You can't, theoretically speaking, make it all things for all people, but they all try.
It's the fast wagon thing. It's the Porsche Panamera Sport Turismo thing.
Mm-hmm.
It's the Audi RS6 thing. It's the E63S.
I mean, even I've touted quite a few times. The Stinger did it fairly well. The Stinger did that.
It towed that line really, really well.
It was probably on the south end of, like, that's probably the cheapest you can go and truly have something that does as much.
Probably. Well, are you saying a 2005 Outback XT isn't all things to all people?
It's a lot of things to a lot of people. It's good, for sure, but definitely doesn't have the braking and or the handling.
No.
But yeah, that's kind of the difficulty. Is we live in an age where, due to many different constraints and how wide and big a lot of these corporations are, serving so many countries and markets and demographics and everything, they feel they have to.
Right.
Technically speaking, they're probably not wrong in their market. Like, what sucks is, like, the opinion you have, which I share, that cars don't have to be everything as far as, to all people.
Well, it's weird because also we have companies, especially Mercedes and BMW, are the kings of this, market or niche creation and niche feeling.
Yep.
Or sorry, filling. Because beforehand we had the C-Class, E-Class, and S-Class, and then we have. Or BMW is actually even worse with the 3 Series, and we got to make a 2-door version of that, so we're going to call it the 4 Series. But then we're going to make a sedan version of the coupe that's a coupe version of the sedan, so we'll call it a Grand Coupe.
It was better when it was just the 3, 5, and 7.
I concur, and the 1.
And the 1, yeah, because we didn't get the 1 here for a while.
No, we didn't.
But
I can't wait until we can import like 135i 3-doors.
Yep,
that's gonna be so rad.
Yeah, it was. I'm a person that likes complexity. For instance, with like complex music and stuff, that's a lot of what I go with. A lot of that's because of my ADHD and trying to keep like brain occupied and whatnot. So I do thrive on complexity. However, as I've gotten older, I tend to like simplicity a lot more in a lot of ways. And the cars are one thing like that. I'm like, I get really annoyed when all of a sudden my car model has more alphanumeric characters than,
and
than
now
I think necessary.
The numbers don't actually mean anything anymore with like Mercedes with like the 63 motor is a 4-liter, the 53 is a turbo 48-volt hybrid, I think, as well, with like an inline 6. With BMW, the 40s are the 3 liters and the 30s are the 2 liters?
Because of the 4 cylinders.
Are they 2 or 2.5? I think they're 2.
Yeah. Either way, the numbers at this point are just a model name. They signify nothing else beyond that.
Right.
And that's where it's difficult, because like it's... I do have to actually congratulate Audi a little bit, because although they have created all those middles, like the 5 and the A5 and the A7 lines, they at least were easy to understand. So you have A5, S5, RS5.
Right.
A7, S7, RS7. Pretty simple.
Well, and you don't have sedan versions of coupe versions of things that were formerly sedans.
Yes.
Right? If you, like the coupe versions are the odd numbers, unless if you're talking A3.
Yep.
But okay.
Yeah.
And then the even ones are 4 doors. They're the sedans.
Yep.
And then when you get into SUVs, it's just Q3, 5, 7.
Yep.
You have some e-tron stuff, but there's no there's a Q4 e-tron, I think.
And then there's
that's the baby e-tron SUV.
Mm-hmm. The e-tron line they did fuck up a little bit. I'm mainly talking about their regular line,
I know.
because the e-tron lineup's a little messy at the moment because it's just coming out. But they also have like the Q8 and SQ8. So like overall their formula stays pretty simple.
Yeah.
Whereas once, for instance, like in that room we had an E63S AMG wagon,
right,
and then we also had the GT63,
right,
which
was supposed to not really have anything to do with the E, but it was supposed to take the place of the CLS, I believe.
I think so, yeah, because it has that same coupe 4-door styling.
Mm-hmm.
However, like just the model, like don't even get me started. I think the worst one on Mercedes is probably all of the G models, not the G wagon, but all the G models south of that.
GLE, GLS, GLB.
Yeah.
The Glob.
I'd like a Glob 43, please.
Yeah, it's it's just the alphanumeric, egg-shaped pods. I don't like them anyway. I'm sure they're great vehicles to trundle about in.
Yep.
And the 63s, from what I understand, are rowdy, and they are like shockingly fast and can do sports car level shit like on twisty roads. I hear they're great, but like I just can't be bothered to give a shit.
Yeah, I definitely has made it a lot more difficult. But anyways, like in this modern world where all car companies are trying to be all things to all people, we also have like all of the, we'll call them social issues going on, where like, and I'm not getting political when I say social issues. When I say social issues, I mean here in America especially, we started this SUV craze about a decade ago that has just gotten permeated to where there's only about 8 wagons, for instance, on sale.
I mean,
total.
well, the wagons have grown, because at one point it was, if we're talking about just wagons in general to buy.
Yep.
You did, and I'm not talking about purely performance wagons, but you did have the E63 or just the E-Class wagon, period.
Yep.
10 years ago, we just lost the Outback. The Outback went to an SUV 10 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
We didn't have any Audi wagons 10 years ago.
No, we had 10 years ago we did have
In 2012?
all road.
The B8 all road.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so there's that.
We had the revival of the all road.
Correct.
That was the only Audi wagon for sale in the States at that time, I believe.
Right. And now we have not just the RS6, but the A6 and also the B9 all road.
Yeah. Well, fortunately, we have gained a few of those, but we've lost a lot of other stuff in the pursuit of, like, how many different flavors can we stretch a Laffy Taffy SUV into?
Not even SUV, but I mean the smaller hatch, like the lifted hatchback portions of the crossover market, because there are kind of two different camps of crossover.
Yeah.
You have things like the CX-5, which is like a legitimate, like, in between like a decent sized hatch and an SUV. That's a really good middle ground. But then it's keeping it in Mazda territory. You have the CX-3, which is actually a lifted Mazda 3.
And then I actually encountered one with one of the dealerships I work with the other day, and I've seen plenty of these around. I just had never ended up, thank God, sadly, encountering one in person until this day. And I have to mark this day in my calendar as a horrible day.
Oh, no.
Because I encountered a Ford EcoSport in person. It's so much... It's just as bad in person as you see it driving down the road.
You know, there was somebody that actually lifted one and put, like, 1552s on it.
Oh, jeez.
With, like, off-road tires. And I want to say it's the same 1.6 in my car.
I believe it is, yeah.
With 1.6 turbo.
It was effectively a Fiesta interior.
Oh, really?
Very similar. Like, I could clearly tell there's probably the door panels are straight lifted out of it because it's just the glass. It's just the glass that's taller, not the door panels themselves. There's a lot of it that I'm like, oh, this is a lot of crossover with some Fords that are sadly no longer sold here. Funny enough.
Yeah. Well,
it's an interesting time to be alive. But speaking of
this is tangents.
Interesting things. So my significant other had his parents text him this, oh my goodness, thing that they saw in a parking lot.
If you're listening to this podcast, chances are you've actually seen random photos of this car. You probably just didn't know really what you were looking at. I know I have.
And I had to do a little bit of a deep dive to actually get the name, because I only got the model name, which is a Puma. That's the model name. I had to do a little bit of a deep dive to find out, okay, what the hell is the make? The make, and I have no clue if I'm saying this correctly, is Youabian.
I think that's a decent stab in the dark there. A Youabian Puma. It makes me poo my pants.
This, ladies and gentlemen, this may be a podcast. We ask you to follow along with us, please, with your cell phones. Please Google this and
Youabian, Youabin, and Puma, like the cat. We found an article from Autoblog, and the caption of the article is "An out-of-body experience in the body of a Volvo C70."
This is bizarre.
This is the ugliest thing you've ever seen.
So,
like, forget the Pontiac Aztek, forget about the BMW Beaver Teeth that are on the new 4 Series and M3. This is actually the most hideous thing to ever grace our eyeballs.
So, to give you a little bit of context, this damn thing is 20 feet long, 7.75 feet wide, so wider than an F-150.
Yeah.
And also, this specific article doesn't say, but it's also about 6.5 feet tall.
Okay. It's also rocking, what, 42s?
42s on the rear, yeah. Insane.
And those are probably 37s up front?
Yes.
Or 39s or something like that.
Yeah.
I don't know.
It's an absolutely bulbous, massively proportioned vehicle.
Imagine a Plymouth Prowler got stung by a bee, but got stung by an entire, what's I guess an entire hive.
An entire hive, and they were allergic.
Yes. It's just the worst thing ever. We were discussing earlier in the car when we were initially talking about this. It's LS7 powered. It makes north of 500 horsepower.
Yep.
It weighs 6,500 pounds.
Yep.
And does 0 to 60 in 5+ seconds. And yeah, it has the interior of a Volvo C70. God. Oh, look, the valve covers are painted to
blue to match the car.
Yeah, that's cute.
I don't even know where to begin describing this because it's just I fail to see what the point was.
Well,
except for just to be not even just to be different. There are cars that dare to be different. This is so far beyond that
right.
that it just I lost the plot.
Yeah, and you too could lose the plot to the tune of $950,000.
Here's the thing. When I saw these photos, I was like, this is bizarre. Looked it up, saw all this shit. I was like, okay, this is still whack. Then I saw the price, and I just about damn near fainted.
You should have seen the look on my Justin. You saw the look on my face this morning when you told me. It said out the door prices have ranged from $750 to $900,000. Didn't one say, like one went for sale and an auction? You said that went for 1.1
1.1, which is where this figure, that $1.1 million this article states, comes from.
Yeah,
I mean, it's. Oh my goodness. The owner actually states right here, everything is, I mean, you wouldn't be able to tell. Everything is hand built, a lot of man hours. That's why
I can tell that it's hand built.
That's why I've had to price it so high. I don't know. To me, it looks like it could be stamped in a plastic printing press.
Oh no, that looks like hot garbage that can only be put together by hand.
Yeah, fair. But yeah, that's why his claim is that he's had to make it so expensive. Because, I mean, if you look at all the shit that this includes, which is C70 headlights and interior and LS7 and all this stuff, you could probably piece together the mechanical bits of this thing for probably about $40,000, $30,000, something like that.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Yes, but what about the R&D work, Justin?
But what about the voluptuous body?
That's a word.
Voluptuous.
Okay, but if you ignore everything else, right? If you
I take an eraser and just erase the car.
and leave the headlights and the grill, it does look rather happy to see you.
It does. It looks rather cheerful until you zoom out a little bit.
You have to, but you gotta, like, take your Ritalin and focus on just that and nothing else about the car.
I wish I could actually, I doubt I could actually find this spec on a car this bizarre and rare, but look at how small the trunk is compared to the rest of the car.
And you know what? That's probably an average size trunk.
I know, but it's so small compared to how huge this thing is.
We're going to have to post a photo on our Instagram and Facebook to, like, when we promote our podcast and stuff. It'll just be this.
Honest thoughts. Seriously.
Honest thoughts? Oh, yeah. Okay, Justin, tell me how it is. What's your honest thought?
Jesus fucking Christ. Stab my eyes out now. Why? I just... Oh, yeah, and also, sorry, another thing here. I have a hunch that this whole top section right here is almost identical to a Chevy SSR. I have a feeling that is the roof of a Chevy SSR.
What's the C70?
So
wasn't there a C70 convertible?
I believe so. Let's look it up. Volvo C70 convertible.
To the interwebs.
So yes, there was. However, I don't think that roof line fits. I think the roof line...
Hold on. Second row, 2 from the right. Pull that up, and then go back and forth to that shot. See if you can... Oh, mate. Hold on. Is there another one?
Yeah, there's more. Up here at the top, mainly.
If we could get a side profile.
Let's see.
I don't know. It might be, because you really have to take into consideration how fucking big this thing is. Here, go one over to the right.
Let's see. Boop, boop.
Can we expand that photo? Can you just zoom in with your magnifier?
You might have to tell me how to do that.
Command plus.
There we go. I am, ladies and gentlemen, I am not a...
We're using a 12-year-old iMac.
It's thinking about it. There it goes.
Yeah, okay. Look carefully and, like, study some of these details, and then go back to the other one.
See, that looks a little too slopey.
You think so?
I think this...
I don't know.
You know,
I might fight you on this one. I mean,
yeah.
If anyone else knows if that's actually...
I mean, it does almost look like a C70 body. It's just glued onto there.
Yeah, it looks like it's kind of like it's wearing actually wearing a suit.
It's about 6 sizes too large.
It looks like a Volvo C70 is wearing the bottom half of an Iron Man suit. God,
I just noticed the side pipes. It's got side pipes.
It just gets worse the longer you look at it. Did you also notice the fog lights on it?
Yes, I did. The fog lights that are just like, oh yeah, let's just make this little like
it's literally tacked on.
let's just make this little fish gill thing. Okay.
This is I mean, the car debuted in 2012, but the design language of this is straight out of 1999.
Wow. I'm yeah, so
Do you know if
What
this
the
guy
hell?
actually designed the Jelly Bean Taurus?
Jesus, I wouldn't surprise me. Almost half the shit from the 90s, this guy just seems to be in love with.
Oh my god.
In fact, they still have
PumaAutomobiles.com. That's from July of 2012.
we're about to find out if their website still functions.
Oh, that's so funny.
Oh my god, they still have a website. Oh, wow.
Oh, wait, what there's some in the press.
Won the Los Angeles Auto Show.
It won? How could it have possibly won anything?
Let's see. Oh, it's yahoo.com. That's
aside from, most cracked out designer. I feel bad for the auto industry. Hundreds of executives from around the world descend the Los Angeles Auto Show to talk up their newest models and engineering feats, only to have a homegrown competitor crush their dreams beneath a hardtop 4C convertible that cost $1.1 million.
Okay, hang on. This individual needs a shout out. Where is this individual's name? Oh, YouTube.
Sacked.
Yeah. Yeah, sorry, not YouTube. Yahoo Auto has clearly decided, oh yeah, this man was a little too drugged out for our liking after he released this article.
No credit.
His name has been redacted. Redacted. No credit whatsoever. This is fucking hilarious.
Oh my god.
Oh my wow. Oh, he's a cosmetic surgeon.
Whoa, that just makes all the sense in the world now, doesn't it?
Yeah, the designer of the car is a cosmetic surgeon. Okay. It's been in development for over 7 years. And wow.
That is absolutely incredible.
So if you place an order, it takes 2 years to get it. Because they have to, quote unquote, hand build it.
I wonder if you get a discount if you get your boobs done by him.
Yeah, this looks like a plastic surgeon's doing.
0 to 60 in 5.9, 22 miles a gallon freeway, 44-inch tires. My bad.
Yeah.
20-inch rims.
Those 2 inches matter, Gavin. This is just.
And also the rear bumper just kind of stops.
Yeah. It just ends. I mean, we were joking about in the car, like something like this, of this size and mass. To do 0 to 60 in 5.9 is a decent feat.
Right.
Like, what does that feel like? 0 to 60 in 5.9 and that?
Like 0 to 60 in 5.9 and something as small as a Lotus Elise, because that's a little bit. That's like a real world 0 to 60. Those back in the day did like 4.5.
Yeah.
But like really, if you're driving your car, you're probably gonna get 0 to 60 in about 6 seconds in that. 0 to 60 in something that's 6.5 feet tall, rocking 44s in the back with a whatever it was 6-speed automatic behind the LS7. I mean, you could do it with the top down. You could do 0 to 60 in 5.9 with the top down.
I mean, and not to mention the weight of 6,500 pounds.
Yeah.
So weighing in at not too far shy of your F350.
Right.
Like, Jesus.
Imagine I just had a visual of like somebody doing that from a light on like the PCH with the top down.
I mean,
and thinking that they're just the fucking shit.
This is the automobile for somebody who thinks, I want the only one. And therefore I am better because I have the only one.
Well, if you go to Cars and Coffee in Malibu, there's going to be like 6 McLaren Sennas.
Oh, yeah.
There's going to be none of these Youabians.
Oh, that's great. There's an investors tab on their website. And it just says,
inquiries are welcome.
Oh, my God. That's all it says. There's no investors label. Just investor inquiries are welcome. Oh, my God. And Google Maps. They had a Maps link at one point. That's dead.
God.
This website, it doesn't even say.
Oh, wait. 11901 Santa Monica Boulevard in Los Angeles.
They're on fucking Santa Monica Boulevard? Wow. This is hilarious. Like, they have a Facebook page. Oh, my God.
How many likes does their Facebook page have?
Let's see if I can even get it. I'm not logged in on here. Let's see what happens. Okay, yep. 28 reviews.
2
2
stars.
Oh my god.
Is anyone available to chat?
Still here, still hideous, still a Volvo with AutoZone fog lamps. Great. We've stumbled across like the reviews deep on the internet. It's a Volvo C70 with a kit add-on, nothing else.
Someone else named Igor said it's a great car. It's bigger than a Rolls-Royce Phantom, so you get the point.
5 stars. Let's see. To pay $1 million these days for a car such as this is moronic. It is not easy to surprise a person these days, but this attempt failed completely in my mind. My suggestion is, if you have any money left, try something else. Put it in the past and move on to something simpler. Don't try and reinvent the wheel.
Kudos for trying.
Wow. This is just great, new and different. Great car. Love it. Wow.
Go for it, Mr. Youabian. The world would be a sad place if it were just full of Toyotas. No, I think I would rather a world full of Toyotas than that.
I would rather have a Toyota. There are not words for this terrible car dash truck dash convertible. This is, yeah. I mean, I don't even think... It doesn't even show how many likes are on their page, and the last review was from 2017.
Go to home, where it says home under.
Last
320 people like this.
Okay.
It's more than I thought.
More than I thought as well. Back to their dead skeleton of a website.
Oh, yes.
Wow. Like specs. What specs do they have listed? Okay, so they literally just have the engine specs, which is just a Crate LS7.
Right.
Brakes. What brakes does it have? 16-inch rotors?
With 6-piston calipers, too.
Wow. Oh, Willwood's not surprising.
Yeah. Some sort of probably crate kit, like a package from Willwood.
Yeah.
16-inch fronts, 13-inch rears, 6-piston fronts, 4-piston rears. Front suspension, upper and lower A-arms, coilovers. Rear suspension is... Oh, so it's independent rear suspension.
Wow.
So that's interesting. I would have thought a solid axle in the back.
Yeah, see, and here's what makes me chuckle.
21 inches wide?
Holy fuck.
What in the actual fuck?
These have got to be special tires. There's no...
Oh, they're special, all right.
I mean, there's no way those are not just off-the-shelf tires.
You're not going to Big O for those.
No, 44-inch, 21-inch wide. Like, holy shit.
How wide is that wheel?
It doesn't say.
Because it looks pretty balloony. Over that wheel. It's a 20-inch wheel.
Yeah. What's odd, I noticed, is even on the suspension stuff, like they go into an okay amount of detail, which I think this is an acceptable amount of detail for the brakes. But then on the suspension, It's just like A-arm suspension, and that's all it says. Same with when you go to the wheels and tires, it just says 20-inch chrome-forged aluminum wheels, and that's all it says.
And for those listening at home, they absolutely look like they were bought at Walmart.
Yes, they do. This is 100% like you went to discount American racing level wheels, like as cheap as you could go, all the way down the discount aisle, like...
You bought these at the Walmart on the corner in East LA.
Yeah.
And this is what they had.
All it says for chassis. Like, these aren't specs. These are just like, oh, this is the very basic, like, chassis. Aluminum and steel. That's
Body,
all it says.
Aluminum and fiberglass composites.
Let's see.
Okay.
Exterior. Okay, there's the dimensions. There you go. 93 inches wide.
93 inches wide, 242 inches long, 72 inches high. Wheelbase is 163.5, and it's a 9-inch ground clearance.
And what's funny is it doesn't look like a 9-inch ground clearance.
It looks like
it's
like 4 inches off the ground because, the way photography works. What's the interior specs?
Let's see. It just gives a bunch of headroom and legroom specs.
Yeah, that's
and
interesting.
4 seats. Luxury and comfort package.
Oh, 8-way power adjustable driver and passenger seats with memory. Rear seats folding with pass-through and center armrest. Ayo, power door locks, power windows, power side mirrors with memory, heated mirrors, automatic dimming mirror. Okay, a lot of stuff.
Okay, so I'm reading through. I'm like reading through all this, and I'm like, if you take out the touchscreen center, the touchscreen radio and the voice recognition in Bluetooth, all of these specs up here would be things that an auto manufacturer in, guess what, yet again, the 90s would be proud to be advertising.
100%. But it does have a 1,300-watt 8-speaker audio system, and with Sirius XM radio, and auxiliary power input with iPod integration.
Oh, wait.
So you're telling me I can plug my U2 iPod into this bitch?
Somebody is advertising iPod integration in 2012. Like 2012 was like the kind of the very
It was the last
late
of iPods being at all relevant.
Like, oh my god, this is great. Let's go to the last couple. Like, oh, what's in the safety and airbags section? Okay, so front and driver and passenger airbags, side-mounted airbags, glass breakage side airbags. So it looks like it probably I bet you it just has all the airbags that the Volvo came with.
All the things that Sweden engineered, yes.
Yes. Can you imagine the phone call that like somebody got like, hello, I would like to order about 10 of your C70s. No, I don't want the whole car. I just want the car from the windshield up.
Yes.
And the interior.
Yes.
That's it. Oh, and the headlights. Throw in the headlights
too.
too.
Headlights too, yeah.
Oh, jeez. What's
performance and warranties? Performance 0 to 60 in 5.9. Fuel economy 12 miles
a gallon.
1 year
10,000 miles.
Yeah, let's have one of us talk at a time.
Good, yeah.
Acceleration results based on tests done with the vehicle in specific options and weight ratios. Actual results may vary based on vehicle options. Fuel economy results, blah blah blah. So yeah, just asterisks.
Yeah, it is not very good.
Anyways, we've spent a lot of time on a shit car.
This is seriously, if we want a deep dive, and you really need to visually see this to gouge your eye holes with it.
Here, can you pull up a photo of the BMW M4 of the new one, just so like I need a palate cleanser.
There you go. Here,
wow, it doesn't look that bad now.
I know. All of a sudden, with some context, the BMW M4 looks good.
Actually, no, that still looks pretty fucking bad.
Jeez. Whoa, my goodness.
Yikes.
Some nasty cars today, ladies and gentlemen.
Oh, boy.
Oh, my goodness. Yeah, that car's like a little sus. We're just going to close that.
It's so bad.
I mean, it's so bizarre that something like that can come out. And, automotive design is such a weird thing in general because you have so many different opinions on it, and so many of them are good and right, just very different. And then you see something like that come along, and you're just like, my dude, you smoked a little too much crack combined with a little too much weed combined with a little too much drunk. All of the above seems to have had a play in this decision.
Everyone who sees that just puts up a middle finger and just collectively says, fuck to the no.
Wow. Yeah, I'm glad that the NSX that we drove today looked a lot better than that.
Oh, God.
Any of them. All of
I'm glad most of the cars you and I have ever either seen or driven look better than that. But yes, NSXs, guess what? Even a couple months after having driven them last, they're still good. NSXs are still good.
I still enjoyed my time in the yellow one on my commute back.
Mm-hmm.
And, I mean, it just, a lot of this will be in the film, but I genuinely enjoyed it yet again, even though we did nothing sporty today. We just commuted.
Speak for yourself.
I mean, you speak for yourself.
I got the boogie on the highway going both ways, which was great.
And I got a couple little 8,000 RPM pulls just for the fun of it.
And that's good.
Yes.
Yeah.
But like, even just the commuting aspect of just like, oh, this is so lovely. Like the dashboard's so low, I can see everything so well. The seat's comfortable. It's relatively quiet.
It's funny, I came out of the hybrid and then into the Toyota Sequoia, and I was like, this is not the same thing.
No.
Especially coming up to like the first little intersection in that neighborhood. I just got on the brakes. I'm like, nope, not an NSX.
Nope. Nope, it's not carbon ceramics.
Nope.
It's such a vastly different thing, but
yeah.
Speaking of Sequoia, it's actually funny. I was recollecting on what I told you earlier about the my parents up at Bear Lake with that thing.
Yeah.
Our camera vehicle is also my parents' 2007 Toyota Sequoia.
It's basically a free car because they only use it seldomly on boating trips and whatever.
It's a vacation vehicle.
It's a vacation vehicle that just doesn't get run otherwise, and we tend to have a need for a vehicle like that more often than they do. And so whenever we do a video shoot, Justin is able just to reach out to mom and dad, go like, hey, can we borrow the Sequoia? Yeah, sure. Okay, cool.
Yeah, this last week they took it up to Bear Lake, and
Sure.
I went with. And it was just funny because I got to see the mighty and prowess of Toyota take on Chevrolet and win.
Oh, no.
Because we went down onto the beach at Bear Lake, and you're allowed to drive onto the beach setup and everything.
Yeah.
And this Chevrolet that was, granted, a 1998 long bed Chevy that was four-wheel drive, but the four-wheel drive was broken. Tried to make it out of the beach going up the hill to the main road and just dug himself a hole. So me and a bunch of other guys had to dig him out.
Nice.
Got him out. They went on their way, and the dude in the campground next door was like, well, I don't know if we're going to make it out. Do you think you guys are? I was like, I think we got it.
I think we'll
So,
be
like,
okay.
this is as to put some perspective on this. This is a 2007 Sequoia with 160,000 miles. Like the area behind the middle seats is loaded to the brim with as much shit as you can pack in it. It's got 4 people in it, 2 kayaks on the roof, 2 paddle boards on the roof, and 2 bikes on the back. So like this thing is loaded.
Right.
And it just like literally 4-wheel drive, 4 low. It hops up like a fucking mountain goat. Just doesn't even breathe.
Yeah.
Makes it up there. It was just such a funny experience. Like the dude in the Chevy, I mean, it was mostly driver error. Like he really didn't know how to deal with soft sand and dirt.
Mm-hmm.
But it was just the funny spectacle of just this massively overloaded Toyota just getting up there no problems.
Like
when this truck.
Yeah.
But
No,
anyways,
I feel it.
no, it's a fun vehicle. I was actually trying to think. There was another. Actually, I mentioned to you, I had my first very slight experience with a Model S Plaid today. I got to see the yoke in person.
Oh yeah, it's not good.
It was a funny thing. I didn't know it was a Model S Plaid until I saw the yoke. I mean,
Are they putting the yoke in anything else though?
I don't think so.
They're only putting it in Plaid products, but it's not the. There's more than just the Model S Plaid. There's a Model 3 Plaid, I think.
Yeah.
That's coming, and I want to say a Model X or potentially Y. I don't know that much.
Yeah. No, I was doing a job for somebody.
I'm sickened that we've contributed to the SEO of the Model S yoke or the Tesla yoke.
Yeah, it was just
fuck Elon.
It was just really funny. I just had no clue and was doing a job for this person completely unrelated to the car.
Yeah.
And then just happened to see the yoke. I was like, oh, interesting. It's a Model S Plaid. He's like, yeah, I had a Model 3 Performance. And he's like, I got the opportunity to buy this completely at sticker, which was super rare. So I did it. I'll probably turn around and sell it. Like he's like, it's totally too much, and it's just a car to me. It's not like crazy or anything. So he's like, I'll probably end up selling it for more than I bought it for.
Sure.
Great, fantastic.
God bless.
just bizarre. I mean, other than that, like the week's been fairly. Besides that, and the Youabian, my and the NSXs, my car week has been fairly boring. I don't know about yours. Oh no, you did have one.
Well, yeah, and I mean, one last thing about the yoke. Lexus is also making a yoke now.
Cool. I mean, right there, literally right there.
Yeah. So it is the beginning of the end. Anyways, so we're recording this on a Sunday. We're gonna drop it on Monday. For me, this weekend has actually been mostly mid-engined based, not just with the NSXs. Back in, when was it? It was like July or so. It was about 2 years ago of 2020. I did a photo shoot for a friend of ours who has actually contributed cars to our video reviews before, whose name is actually, funny enough, also Gavin. Shout out to Gavin, not me. And he had just acquired a C8 Corvette. It was a Z51. I forgot if it was like a 3LT. I don't think it was. I think the spec, it was equipped around $85,000.
I believe so. Yeah.
Gavin, if you actually are listening to this, what's up? And let me know if I got it wrong. However, I did a photo shoot with it in Big Cottonwood Canyon, and he offered to have me drive it. Of course, I said yes. And we mostly hit traffic because guess what? We were in Big Cottonwood Canyon. That's what the reality of Big Cottonwood Canyon has been for the past probably 5 years or so.
Yeah.
So I didn't really get much of like a sustained, like enthusiastic, driving pace with this car. And I've kind of been biding my time. Wasn't able to do a full-on review of that car. And I was kind of waiting for just somebody else to kind of come down the line that could possibly, jump on an opportunity.
Mm-hmm.
And so there's one guy that I know formerly was more into Porsche ownership. He had like a 996 turbo with some aftermarket suspension and I think other turbo stuff on it. I didn't know or hear about when he got his C8, but he recently-ish, I saw him put it with an Instagram post with the car and one of the houses that he sold. I was like, oh, did you buy a C8? Is that yours? Is that a Turo? Like, what's the story here? And I didn't ask anything at that time, and so I even more recently than that made a post on my Facebook about wanting to do a potential photo shoot, and I'm trying to like get through like a roll of film, and just send it off and get developed. Like, who wants in on this? And he commented on that and saying that he was interested. I was like, I have a different idea. How about I take my GoPros and my photo camera and I give you some free photos and do basically a one take.
Yeah. And
so he was all game, and we just booked basically the weekend after I got back from Sun Valley to take the car, and I actually ran a couple of errands. I got coffee in it, and I picked up some film gear for our shoot today.
In the C8.
Yeah, I drove to Acme in a C8 and popped the trunk and threw the tripods in the back. It was a really weird experience. It was really awesome, though. So shout out to Alma. I need to actually get some copy from him about his business, because I need to promote or do some cross-promotion at the end of the C8 review. But, yeah, that's a car, man. That's really, I mean, there's been a lot of hype around that car for a few years now, and I definitely understand where that's been coming from. I drove it on Cascade Springs, which is out by Soldier Hollow and the Sundance area, and kind of like the Orem Provo area. It's this quickly becoming one of my new favorite roads in Utah, frankly. Especially the part that's been paved over. It used to be dirt, and now it's just like the smoothest,
most beautiful ribbon of tarmac.
Oh, it's just Utah basically now has a corkscrew, which is fucking epic. I drove it, the yellow NSX there.
Yep.
Not on that specific part, but on that road. This is where I drove the RS4, or we filmed RS4. I didn't drive it on that part, but
yep.
We really should have driven the RS4 on that other part that goes down by the golf course.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, my God. Oh, that would have been amazing. I wish I knew that was paved. Anyways.
Actually, it wasn't paved at the time we had the RS4, though. That was still under construction.
Are you sure?
Mm-hmm. Because I remember it stopped just after that lower parking lot.
Oh, maybe it did.
Yeah, so that wasn't done yet.
Oh, interesting.
Either way, it's done now.
It's done now, and if you know where I'm talking about, fucking send it, dude.
Go drive it.
Yeah, go have a day. Yeah, I mean, like, do you want me to get into the review of the car? Do you want me to?
I think we touched on some points. I just wanted to point out that it's funny. I haven't driven a C8 yet, and I haven't hardly had any experience with it, but I've driven a 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6.
You've driven a C2?
Stevens.
Oh.
Not that I would. I'm not going to.
That doesn't count. Fuck off. That does not count.
It is a body of a C2.
It is the body of a
and
C2.
a VIN. It's a legit car.
No,
okay.
It's
Anyways.
not indicative of a C2.
I know.
Anyway.
I need to drive an actual C2, but I've driven 3, 4, 5, and 6.
For those that don't know, this guy Steven that lives in Vegas, Henderson area, he's a bit of a GM nut, and it's an LS6 that's shoehorned into a C2. It makes around 500 horsepower, and the car weighs 2,900 pounds. And we drove it in the Valley of Fire, and yeah, it was one of the nuttiest cars I've ever driven. It was stupid.
Yeah.
It was great, but stupid. Yeah, and the Corvettes, I've only driven a C3, black on tan with the T-tops, and then a white C7 that was a base car. It was base. It was manual, normal suspension, like GT Cruiser. Like the guy that I know that bought it basically bought it when the C8 was announced.
Yeah.
And was just like, I want the last of the front engine cars. Like, okay, that's neat. So he actually owns a C2 as well.
Nice.
A blue convertible, and it has since moved to New York. But yeah, I've only driven those in the C8.
See, and with me, I help in my storage unit. I help care for a friend's C3.
Right.
And then I have a client of mine that I regularly. She basically had a car that she bought brand new. Her husband passed away, and the car basically sat for years. So it was a 5,000-mile C8. She had me come detail it, and I helped her get it back up and running. And she can't drive, so once a month I go out and take like a drive and go like make sure the car's functioning and just gets moved, because I just told her like, hey, There's a reason you had to spend $2,000 on like tires and belts and all this stuff from
Just
sitting.
like what Kyle was talking about, like the reason why he drives his Type S.
Mm-hmm. So I was like, I know you don't have a license and you are probably not going to get one again. So let me just come out once a month. We'll go just take a drive, get some food. You know,
Take you to lunch and
anyways. So C3 and C5 are most of what I've had experience with.
Right.
But C8
yeah,
is such a different animal.
Yeah, it really is. And the C7 that I drove, it was only, I mean, that was in like the first week of December, also going up Big Cottonwood Canyon, but with no traffic. But it's like, okay, tires are cold, ground's cold. It's not snowy, but
yeah, it's not far off.
yeah, second gear tops out at like 80. Like still really long gears. The dual clutch in that. So okay, I drove that car. Well, a different C8. The first aforementioned C8. I drove that in 2020, and two things really stuck out in my mind, in my memory. First being the magnetic ride control, absolutely, just batshit crazy smooth.
Yeah,
you cannot believe how smooth it is. The other thing, that Tremec 8-speed is
very good.
Mind-blowingly good for a first run, a first attempt. It does some things better than PDK, which is a strange thing to say. But like there are some times where, you know, downshifting from a 2 to 1, it's not that often you do that, but sometimes you just want to do that.
Yeah.
And it actually pulls it off. I've the most recent, like as far as model years is concerned, PDK car I drove was in 2019. I drove a 718 Cayman base.
Yeah.
And PDK definitely stumbled going from 2 into 1. So yeah, the programming of it, the pace of which it can actually change gears, it doesn't just shift fast when you're at full load. It does it when you're at a half load, a third load, a quarter engine load. Like it does it just regardless, wherever you are in the power band, wherever you are loading, you know, power onto the engine. Like the gearbox just, it's,
which is crazy considering the base price of that car and the fact that even at the base, even at the lowest level of that car, you get
60.
the same transmission.
Yeah.
I mean, that's nuts.
Yeah. I do kind of wish a manual was an option.
Yeah.
Because not because a herder manual's a better herder or manual elitist.
Yeah.
I do feel like there would be a fantastic experience. There would be a fantastic experience to have like a Nashi 6-speed rowing through those gears with a really great like auto blipping, like a 3-2 downshift right before a corner, while having like the engine behind you, like a V8 behind you, and like getting that feel. That would be a really special experience in 2020 or 2022.
Yep.
So, yeah. But the gearbox is amazing. Ride quality is still great. Great turn in. Mag ride was awesome. I don't want to give too much away, but it's a fantastic car, and I'm super happy and super lucky that I was able to actually have a full day with it. So, video coming to the YouTube soonish. I'm gonna post that after, because I had a little bit of an NSX tie-in into that video.
Yeah.
So that'll come out after the NSX film, probably mid-late August.
Cool.
So look for that on our channel. I don't know. What is there anything else you really want to discuss? How long have we been going for?
Well, over an hour.
Oh, well, look at that.
I know.
We look at us. We just keep talking.
I know.
Talking and
Talking and talking.
Talking.
And we're going to stop.
Are we?
I mean, I think so. I think it's probably about the time.
Eventually. All right, cool. Well, thanks everybody for listening. This was a rather interesting episode today.
Hopefully a little exciting. I think we definitely had more of a laugh than we usually do.
Oh, yeah. You know, like I'm here for it for sure. We got to find more nutty, wacky shit to laugh at. So if you have nutty and wacky shit to laugh at, get at us in the DMs, Instagram.com / exhibition of speed. Anyways, no, but actually, Instagram, we're Exhibition of Speed. If you really want to reach out to us on Facebook, you can find us if you know us. Our Facebook page is basically DOA. We don't really do anything
much
with it. Yeah. But yeah. If you want to reach out to me on my socials, gp.media on Instagram. Don't bother Justin because he probably won't read your messages.
I'll read messages. I'll read messages, but like, just give me a minute.
He'll just leave you on red.
Or that, potentially.
Yeah, if you're listening to this and don't know we have a YouTube channel, we have a YouTube channel. It's called Exhibition of Speed. We do car reviews, and we hopefully make ones that are interesting and worth watching. So feel free to check us out on youtube.com/Exhibition of Speed. And if you are in need of like a t-shirt or like a new hat, or if your laptop just doesn't have enough stickers on it, www.exhibitionofspeed.com is your go-to place for that. We have hats, we have stickers, we have shirts.
They are ready to ship, sitting on the table to Gavin's right and my left.
Yes, and I am soon to be working on a design. I need to hit up Ben actually about this.
Yeah.
For a hoodie, because hoodie season, boyfriend hoodie season is coming up.
Yep.
All you ladies, get yourself a boyfriend who has hoodies. Tis the season. Anyways,
that was
no, but seriously, yeah, it'll be good for us to have one of those for fall, winter, and spring, especially here in Utah. Like, you can wear that shit for like 3 of the 4 seasons. Really.
Oh yeah.
So, yeah, I don't know. You got anything else?
I think that's about it, to be honest. Just look for NSX film upcoming in the coming month, as well as the aforementioned C8 video.
Oh yeah, I'm hoping 2 weeks.
Yeah, 2 weeks to a month, just depending on what happens in the editing room, but soon.
I'm confident that we'll get this done pretty quickly.
Pretty quickly, yeah.
So, all right. Well, thanks again for watching, or sorry, listening. Yeah, I hope you're not watching because we don't have any camera set up.
No.
And I mean, shout out to the owners of the NSXs that we just got done driving and filming again for what we promised is the last time.
Yeah.
I mean, I hope I get the opportunity and chance to drive some of these other guys' cars in the future, but thank you to the owners of those cars. Thank you to Derek and the whole company of Makes and Models for letting us kind of swoop in at the last second and set up shop for a day. And sorry, I'm like having like a hard time with words right now because it's just like the idea of us just like swooping in and just moving cars out of our way. Makes and Models was our playground today. It really felt like playtime, and I got to play God.
Yeah.
Which is not something that actually happens that often. So, huge shout out to them. If you want to buy a car, if you want to buy, a sports car, exotic, whatever, they're a great place. It's run by really good people.
Yeah.
And I don't have enough, pleasant things to say about them. So
For sure.
I don't know. Do you have anything else?
Not really.
Cool. Well, I'm gonna slurp down the last of my soft drink. I'll catch you all on the flippity flop. And until next time, this has been the Exhibition of Speed podcast. Goodbye.
Goodbye.